Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Horse's Mouth's monthly marketing meeting. I'm Sean Bailey, editor-in-chief. I'm here with Devin Kropp, our associate editor who runs the advisor-client turnkey marketing program. Devin, good to see you.
You too.
So, well, the world has been turned pretty close to upside down in the last week or so, despite repeatedly assuring the world that he had no intentions of invading Ukraine. The Russians have rolled into Ukraine and have been met with fierce resistance, both by the Ukrainians and really, the entire Western world. So in our monthly marketing meetings, we tend to start broad with topics that would be of absolute interest to all financial advisors. And then as we move through our meeting here today, we narrow down our discussion to very specific actions that advisors at Horse's Mouth are taking, our master members and our advisor client members who get really a teed up marketing plan from us every month with very specific actions to take. And action really is the key word each month when you're marketing. And for this month, we've done some quick changes at least. And the action here really is going to relate to what's going on in Ukraine and the international response and how it's impacting markets. So Devin, let me throw it over to you.
Thanks. So yes, the past 2 years, it seems like have been filled with crises. And if there's anything that we have learned from advisors going through the past 2 years is that communicating with your clients during these times of uncertainty or anxiety is absolutely crucial. We saw it early on in the COVID pandemic that advisors who were communicating with their clients on a regular basis and reaching out in various forms, we're seeing better client retention, referrals. Clients felt better about the situation than those advisors who were just not really communicating on the topic. So now that we have this new kind of crisis going on, the markets are starting to be affected, by the invasion and what's going on. It's really, really important that you are reaching out to clients during this time just to touch base and say, we're monitoring the situation. We are making sure that, we're going to be proactive about any changes that we need to make. If you have any concerns, let's talk about it. So they're not just sitting there, getting their news from unreliable sources or thinking in their head all these things and not able to really know what's going on with their accounts or what's going on with the markets. So we want to be proactive and communicate with our clients during this time. And, we don't need to fear monger or start to, get into specifics, but again, be that reassuring force, that you have a plan for them. If the markets are volatile, we usually see them bounce back. Sometimes we just need to kind of sit it out and not be overly worried about it. Go through your kind of talking points that you use with clients when they feel uncertain about the markets and their accounts and the volatility that, we see from international crises like this.
Yeah, and I'll point out that there just was a recent study out by the FPA, and one key takeaway from this report, unlike it's a research study of clients and how they're feeling, and it's the same study that they did back in 2006. And back in 2006, they found that both the clients and advisors, were aligned in their feelings of just being assured that the advisor is with them, they've got a plan, and everything is good. This time, and maybe no surprise because of 2 years of the pandemic now, there turned out to be a significant gap. Advisors felt like their clients were fine and assured, but the clients themselves expressed a large amount of anxiety. So what we have there is a gap in perceived differences of the advisor's perception of how clients are feeling and how the clients are feeling themselves. And this was a study that was done, I believe back in the fall, the research was done, and, which was, the second fall of the pandemic. And so now here we are, the pandemic, fingers crossed. A lot of us are thinking it's, kind of winding down. It's in some level. And now this, boom, a major, honestly, the most serious, geopolitical crisis possibly of certainly of my lifetime, I think. We have the Russians, repeated a number of times rather provocative statements around the use of nuclear weapons. They're sort of saber rattling. And so if the clients were feeling anxious back in the fall and advisors still weren't tuned into that, now they've got to be feeling, more anxious than ever. So it is really critical that you are proactive, like Devin said, and get on the phone and start calling people. Devin, Debbie Taylor produced an excellent article for us on Monday relating to all this, and she had some suggested talking points. You want to walk us through that?
Yes. So again, there was a great article by Debbie Taylor. If you haven't gone to check it out, I would take a look at it. But, she was going through the idea that, of course, typically the best course of action during times of uncertainty is to stay invested for the long term, right? Just reassuring clients again that, you've been taking care of their accounts in this way, for years, and that, you have kind of this data to back up that we just kind of need to stay course right now. Again, the market reaction is typically swift and then it bounces back. So not to be caught up in that day-to-day volatility, but look at kind of the long-term picture here and not make rash decisions based on one day of the market. She talked about diversifying your investment portfolio to protect against the unknown. And then, of course, just reminding clients that you have the data to support your recommendations that you're giving, and just be that reassuring voice that, you're acknowledging their anxiety and that this is a, scary time and might be a difficult time for many people. And that you kind of are here for them to make sure that their accounts are taken care of. Like Sean was saying, we see that there's this gap between, how advisors think their clients are dealing with everything that's going on and how clients actually are, and just communicating and saying those few talking points of, I'm here for you. Like, let's look at the long-term picture here. Can help kind of close that gap in a way. So as Sean said, picking up the phone and calling certainly your best clients is extremely important during this time. Having someone on your team reach out to maybe, your lower tier clients can work too. And just sending out an email to everyone too, just being proactive with that communication, even if it's a short email, something just saying you're monitoring the situation, everyone's taken care of. These are kind of, the process that we follow during this time, and letting them know to reach out to you if they are concerned or if they do have questions can really go a long way in making them feel more safe and secure in their accounts during this time. And just in general, right? It's just, there's a lot of anxiety, and taking this off their plate is one thing less to worry about, that you're there. That's why, they work with you for you to take care of this, and reminding them of that, I think, is hugely important right now.
And of course, any of you who are out there using Riskalyze, this is the good time to sort of re-engage your clients and get them to, answer that one. I think it's one question where they kind of state how they're feeling, and therefore you can take a super quick a pulse of individual clients and see the ones who are maybe feeling uneasy compared to where they have in the past, and you can target your outbound calls as well. But email is also an approach. And what are we recommending on the email front, Devin?
So just sending something out quickly saying, you're monitoring the situation, you're going to keep in touch with them with important developments. I would summarize some of those talking points we covered in there too. And of course, include your contact information, someone on your team's contact information that they should reach out to if they are concerned, if they do have specific questions, not leaving them hanging with saying, I'm monitoring it and saying goodbye, but let them know that they have the ability to call you and contact you, and that you're willing to, discuss this with them. So that should go out to all of your clients. And I think, adding a phone call in there, especially if you do go through the Riskalyze process, if you use Riskalyze and you get, people saying that, they don't feel good. Those are certainly people you want to reach out to via phone and make sure you're having a conversation with.
Right. And Debbie, I think, also points out in her article, for certain clients, certain portfolios, this could be a good time when the market is beaten down. It's possibly a good time to do some Roth conversions or look for buying opportunities, that sort of thing, being proactive in that respect. One of the things that's interesting in Debbie's article is she identifies, I think it's from an LPL report, where they look at, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 international crises, not financial crises, but international crises. And they look at the impact it has on the market and time to recovery. And, overall, like Devin was saying, the markets tend to recover fairly quickly. But that is the average. And we're always need to be wary that this time is different. And at least in the case with Russia right now, the West has really rolled out unprecedented, financial sanctions against the Russian government, against the Russian oligarchs, against the strategic foreign currency reserves of Russia, which it had built up in advance of going to war. They've been cut off from that. This is really, really extreme stuff. At the same time, Russia is way more than in the past. Their economy is intricately interwoven with the Western economy. They're one of the top producers of natural gas and oil. Both of those have been major contributors to inflation. We all know that we're dealing with an outbreak of inflation here that has everybody concerned. We have the Federal Reserve on March 13th or 16th, I forget what the date is. They're expected to bump interest rates for the first time as a way to fight back with the inflation. So, and so I guess one of the points I'm making is we don't know what's going to happen with Russia. And, sometimes the amount of time to recovery has been short, but sometimes it can go on, much longer as well. But I think it's a good time for everybody to keep in mind, again, that we're all in this for the long game, not the short game. So Devin, what else are we suggesting advisors do?
So for our advisor client members and our master members, we actually have a campaign in an advisor client that was built around communicating during a crisis. So I know, Doug, if maybe we can pull up what this campaign page looks like right here. But you go through, there's a toolkit. We linked to some recent articles that are on the crisis here, but the toolkit is a great resource because we have email templates and phone script templates that you can use for your communication process. So we kind of just went through the actions that you should be taking, and anyone, whether or not you're a member of our program, can do that on your own. But if you're looking for something that is a little bit more ready-made for you, we have templates in there that you can download, you can personalize and send out, so you're not, starting from scratch with that. This is kind of we've turned this into more of an evergreen campaign, meaning that it can work for different crises, but going through these articles and the talking points that we've discussed, you can customize it to be really specific to what's going on right now too. And how you look at it from your planning process to what you want to add in there. So again, the templates are there for you to use. There's a couple of different ones. It's a phone template if you're going to be making the calls. There's a phone script template for, someone else on your team, like a receptionist who wants to, reach out to clients too, and let them know that you're there for them and, see who needs a little bit more hand-holding during this time. And then there's some email templates in there too that you can use to send out, to all of your clients.
Yeah. And also to just signal to our master members and our advisor client members, we do have a short presentation in the works. It'll probably be ready the beginning of next week that you will be able to present to clients and prospects, where it's just kind of it's an update on the Russian invasion of Ukraine and the impact on the markets and economy around the world. And for those of you who feel like this is something you would like to be speaking about in front of your clients, we'll have something teed up. It won't be FINRA reviewed because that takes forever, and this content isn't evergreen. Obviously, it's going to be changing, but we will be updating what it is that we are making available for you in the coming weeks as we see, how this thing plays out. So keep your eye out for that. And it is a presentation that's largely based, or I should say partly based on Debbie Taylor's article that we ran on Monday, but it's also supplemented with other information and more recent developments relating to the sanctions and the war and what's been going on in the markets. So keep your eye out for that. All right, Devin, what do we have specifically going on for the month of March and looking ahead to April for our advisor client and master members?
So we're looking at our marketing calendar for March. Our theme here is taxes as we kind of head into, or we're in the midst of tax season. So our reprint is essential tax tips for IRAs. It kind of goes over some of the rules around retirement accounts and taxes, which is something that is probably very interesting to many of your pre-retiree or retiree clients to, understand these different, tax rules that affect those accounts. And in addition, we have a second client handout that's all about the Secure Act that we recommend sending out now. Interestingly enough, the IRS just released regulations around the Secure Act last week. These are not final yet, but there were a lot of surprises in there about how, the 10-year rule works. It's a little bit different than what, people anticipated the IRS saying. So there is some new stuff around that for our master members or our Savvy IRA members who are listening. We did a newsletter from Jeff Levine this month on what those changes are. Again, nothing is finalized yet, so it's just proposed regulation at this time. We probably won't see anything final until the end of the year. So right now, the rules exist as they exist on this card. But if your clients have seen anything about that in the news, it could be good to send out this card as a reminder of right now, these are the rules as we know them and as the IRS is practicing them. But that could change come the end of 22, beginning of 2023. So it is actually a super timely thing to be sending out right now in regards to that new regulation from the IRS.
Well, good. Devin, as you know, I've been out of the country for 2 weeks, and then I immediately had to jump heads into what's going on. So that's actually news to me. I didn't realize that. So thanks for the heads up. Yeah, that's great that we have the handouts, get that in front of clients. This will be a topic that can be leveraged any variety of ways with your clients, both broadly through communications and one-on-one through meetings, really throughout the rest of the year. And again, it's another one of those opportunities where you're able to demonstrate to your clients that, look, I'm the guy keeping an eye on all this stuff for you. We're watching this closely. These are proposals. They're not, stakes in the ground yet, but we're looking at it, and we can start talking and planning around those issues as well. So presents yourself as having a knowledgeable, considered opinion about new retirement rules coming out of Washington, and that's always a good thing. And so, Devin, on to April. What are we looking ahead to in April?
April, our theme is Social Security. So we have a ton of client reprints on Social Security, enough where you could easily drip one a week for the month. But the one that we chose is why open a My Social Security account. This is a really interesting article that actually kind of marries cybersecurity and Social Security together, because we talk about in the article written by Elaine Floyd, she writes about how even clients who are not ready to claim Social Security, younger clients should be opening a Social Security account online, because we have seen kind of an increase in hackers who are creating Social Security accounts for people and then able to, divert that money or claim at a time that someone does not want to claim their benefit. And so it's actually really imperative for clients of all ages to open an account as soon as possible, so they are in control of that account. So the article kind of walks a client through how to do that process. There are some of those like knowledge-based questions you have to answer to do the account. If you have a credit freeze, you have to lift it. So Elaine covers all of that in the article. It's really informative. And again, this is something that you can send out to clients of all ages. It doesn't just have to be your pre-retiree clients here. Anyone should be going and doing this now. It's never too early to set up your account. It's also helpful because you can then easily check your earnings each year and make sure that they're accurate. And it's just, good to have. So that's our reprint for the month for advisor, client, and master members. We also have a postcard. Our spring key planning and investment deadlines postcard is for April, May, and June. So you want to send that out. And then for our master members, putting on a Social Security presentation next month, whether in person or virtual, it's a great time to do that. Like I said, we have so many article reprints now in the library on Social Security that you can, have a full follow-up campaign. You can build an entire monthly campaign around, marketing your Social Security event and following up with it with a ton of educational resources. So I see a couple of questions here. Matthew is asking where we can find these pieces. And I see now Doug has up on the screen the marketing calendar. This is on the advisor client website. Go to the calendar tab and you can find the links for each month we're talking about. If you're a master member, the same thing, but there's a master, when you're on the master member page, there's a calendar link as well that has some of the additional resources that you have access to as a master member.
Good. All right, everybody. Well, hang in there. Keep your eye on the news, but more importantly, keep your eye on your clients, communicate as much as possible, and we'll see you next month. Take care.